Hi, my name is Glenn Gibbon from Games by Playdate, and this is my game, Leaf Creepers. It's a set of 61 hexagon tiles that are meant to represent a forest, and each of the 2 to 4 players represents a color of leaves that the leaves of the forest are changing in autumn. And play goes around the table with a first, second, third, and fourth player, and the significance of having a 1, 2, and 3 is this number tells you how many times you're allowed to peek at the bottom of the hexes. And that's important because the bottom of the hexes have different symbols. The different symbols allow you to do different things. But the very basic step is taking one of your colors and using it to replace or flip, it's called, one of the tiles. And because I had a 1, before that I was allowed to look under this tile and do that. And this guy is a 2, so I can look under 2 tiles and pick the one I want to flip and flip that. So now, in this instance, I've got this symbol, which is a switch. A switch allows me, after I place my tile, to swap it with any adjacent tile. So it's a swap, swip or a swap. Switch or a swap. So my third player would get to look at 3 of them. And choose one. He's going to choose this one. And this one has a chain on it. And the chain allows him to convert, without activating, 2 more pieces. So he can convert 2 more adjacent pieces to his color, but he does not get to use whatever special ability they may have. Our fourth player gets to look at this one, and he looks at this one and flips over, and it's nothing. So once play has gone around the table completely, you rotate the first player order. And this way, the advantage of being able to look at tiles is constantly changing. So, and you also don't have to do it 1, 2, 3, 4. You could randomly distribute the 1, 2, 3, 4 marker so that the first player might get 4 and then 3, 2, 1. Generally, I feel like the 1, 2, 3, 4 from the first player helps set the tone of who has the greatest advantage. So now the other thing that can, there's 2 other types of cards. One is called a hop, and that's this one. And a hop, if I take that, it allows me to capture or flip without activating any tile that's 1 away. So not adjacent, but 1 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any of those 6 tiles without activating it. And like that. And then the last one, and perhaps the one that people have claimed is the most interesting, I'll just flip this because I know what it is a shift or a push. Now what a push does is when I get this symbol, I can take an entire row and push it 1 tile in a direction. So starting from the one that I flipped over, I can move it this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. Any of the 6 directions, and move the entire row that way. And so this is pretty neat. The problem is, of course, that with my alpha or prototype materials, it's a little bit obnoxious. So I'm just going to do this. Just kind of walk it down the line, and it wraps around like a Pac-Man board. So the reason that you might do this is that you can only flip over tiles that are adjacent to tiles of your color. And your goal is at the end of the game to have the most tiles flipped over once they're all full. It is possible to be in a situation where you cannot flip over anything because you have no open nearby tiles. In that case, you're just out of luck. and maybe you should have planned a little better. And in this manner, you can kind of spread out where you are doing your area control from, through hops or chains or pushes or switches. So the other, let's say we've got this. Let's say we're in the situation right here. Let's say we got a red one here. Now, on your turn, you can capture an opponent's piece by going on two sides of it. So let's say it's green's turn, and green is going to flip over. He's going to peek. He's going to flip over this tile. It's a hop, so he's going to put it down there. And now that he has the hop, he can go one away, and if he's on two sides after that move of someone, he can take that tile, give it back to the player, and replace it with one of his own. So, I'm sorry, replace it with a neutral tile. So, all these tiles that have been captured go in a community pile, and when you capture someone else's tile, you reset it back to that with a random one. At this stage of the design, we have a couple of concerns with how the game plays. One is that neutralizing versus capturing. You could either, let's say, that was red, and I went to green, and then I captured it, switch it over to green from red, or switch it to neutral from red. I like the game to end quicker, so I think I might go with it being a full capture as opposed to neutralize, because I think neutralization could get in a state where you're just flipping back and forth between two, you end up in like a stalemate situation. But on the other hand, there is some comeback that can happen if you neutralize a tile and then replace it with something that changes the layout of the board. The other situation that we had in the first few playtests of it is that it doesn't feel like there's enough interactivity with the board. There's 61 tiles, and originally there were 5 sets of 5 different actions, 7 tiles of each, and you just had kind of a lot of empty tiles that didn't do anything, and that was a little bit boring. So I've currently upped it so that there are only 4 actions. I took one of them out, which was really kind of redundant, which gave you extra peaks, and that seemed to be not really useful, or at least it wasn't as interesting as these other mechanics. And just up the number of it. So right now we have 4 different actions with 10 each. So slightly less than 2/3 of the board is tiles that are going to have an action. That may go up even more, but I haven't decided to think. So that's it. That's Leaf Creepers. I would say it's at version 0.5. We have some material concerns. Just doing it on little pieces of paper is really annoying. Also, I realize should be starting with green leaves and going to autumnal colors. We are still working on some art assets for it, but the big challenge right now is to find tiles that are not flimsy and are easy to manipulate without being really expensive, because buying hexagonal tiles is really needlessly expensive. So that's that. I'm Glenn from Games by Playdate, and this is Leaf Creepers, and I hope that there is a print and play version of it coming soon. Bye-bye.